Hello and welcome. My name's Gwen Houghton and you are watching Tarot for the Soul. Before the reading, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and why I do what I do. As a kid, I grew up Catholic and I would go to church with my parents and my grandparents. And I used to just listen to the prayers and listen to the music, and I'd look above everybody's heads and I'd be able to see these big white shiny lights above everybody's head and above the priest's head, and I would watch angels flying around, and I just thought everybody saw these things. And I started to realize as I got older that I was the only one who was seeing these things. And as I became a teenager, I was realizing that I was having more difficulties than most of my friends around me, but I still didn't understand what was going on. I just struggled for a long time. And then my grandmother and grandfather passed away when I was a teenager as well, and I really started getting very angry. I was angry at the universe, I was angry at God, I was angry at everybody. And I just kind of shut down and went about my business as I was growing through an adult. And then my family was having some difficulties when I was in my 30s, and it was really starting to drive me crazy. I was always the oldest of five. I was always the peacekeeper. I was always the one who was trying to get everybody to get along and all this other stuff. And there was some pretty, there was just a lot of stuff going on with the family. And I thought I was going crazy. I was ready to go see a psychiatrist. I was ready to, seriously was ready to go on drugs. Some kind of antidepressants or something, because I was always crying. I was always upset. And I just felt like I was losing my mind, seriously. And I asked God to help me, and I was instantaneously guided to go to the bookstore. And when I went to the bookstore, I found a book on shamanism and personal mastery. And that's when my world started to open up, because up until that point, I felt like I was alone. I felt like I didn't know what was going on. And when I got that book, I started reading it, and I started realizing that I was, I started realizing that I was psychic. I started realizing that I was in touch with the energy that was around me, and I was in touch with nature, and it was always something that was within my life. So that's the very short of it. Since then, I've been into metaphysics, and that's over 20 years ago now. And as I went through my different classes, I started to learn more and more about the non-physical world, the metaphysical world. And to me, metaphysical means the non-physical world. So there were some classes that I was taking, online classes, through the University of Metaphysical Sciences, and one of the classes was on channeling. So I started working on the class, and the first entity that I channeled was one of my guides, and then I started channeling who I now call Archangel Michael. And when I started channeling the information, I was realizing that this is information that everybody should know, because this is not the same information that they teach us in church. It's not the same information that they even teach us within the New Age community. it's just not the same information. And when Michael was speaking through me, the understanding was that we're the ones who are the powerful ones, humans. We are here on earth as masters, and this is our heaven, or this is our hell. And it's up to us to decide what we're going to do, why we're going to do it, and how we're going to do it. And so I just found the whole thing to be amazing. And I really wanted to be able to start sharing it with you. I wrote a book about it. I did classes for a couple of years and sharing this information with my family and my friends. And then the next step to me seemed like a natural progression to take my readings to YouTube, into you, so I can start to spread the word of enlightenment and how the truth, can help us, and understand what it is that we need to do in our life so we can live the kind of life that we want to live and stop living in this hell, stop living in this purgatory that a lot of us are in. So that's why I started doing these bi-weekly tarot for the soul readings, because when you're getting messages from the soul, it's not just surfacey stuff that, when am I going to buy my new house, or when is my, soulmate going to come in? It turns into when I do a reading for somebody, I want them to understand that I can't tell them what to do. Their angels, their guides will never tell them what to do. I can see probabilities based on what's going on in their life. And so if you want to do something different, you can act accordingly, and use this process that I've, of conscious co-creating. You can use this information to go in a direction that you do want to go in. But the first thing you need to realize is, the first thing you need to know is this need coming from a true place? Or is this need coming from lack, coming from fear, coming from something that was taught to us as young children? And it's breaking through those paradigms, breaking through those false assumptions of this is who I am, this is what I want. So, because you will get what you want, whether it's false or not. It doesn't mean you're going to be happy with it, and more times than not, people are not happy with it. People will get the big house, and they're still not happy. They'll have the beautiful wife or husband, and they'll have the kids, they'll have the 2 cats in the yard and all that other stuff, and they're sitting there at 40, 50, 60 years old, and they're going, there's still something missing. I still feel alone. I still feel like my heart is empty. And that's because this person didn't take the time to find what really mattered. And that's about finding the love within, finding the divine within, finding the God within, finding what it is that you really want to do on a soul level. What will you hear? What, when we're born, what was it that we contracted to do when we were born? Those are the things that we really need to find out, what we really need to do. And that's why I'm really doing these videos, because every couple of weeks I get the chance to give you more information so you can work on yourself. And using the tarot cards it's a vehicle. You can use your own tarot cards, and you can start to And I encourage it, because it's not about me telling you what to do. It's about you figuring out what it is that you need to do day by day. Of course, if you're going through some life challenges, I can help you out with that, and I can kind of get you back on track. But doing the visualization, centering yourself, giving yourself 20 minutes to do a tarot card spread, that's why I want to do these tarot readings for you, because I can guide you through it. I'm giving you the information on the card, and you can elaborate on that, and you'll see what you want on the card too. And don't just think just because I'm saying one thing means that whatever it is that's in your head at the time is invalid, because your soul, on a soul level, you're picking up on the information that you need to hear. So it's I call it a symbiotic relationship, because I'm connecting with you. And isn't it amazing that we can do this with the technology that we have? You're connecting with me, I'm connecting with you, and it just strengthens your ability to be able to connect with your soul on a soul level. It's kind of like the brain neurons. The way I see it is we have these, the neurons, and they connect, and all of a sudden they light up another part of the brain. It's like lighting up, bringing that information into the consciousness. The other thing I want to say, just because I find it pertinent to a lot of what I talk about, is the way I see things is we have our soul family, which is a constellation of stars that are above our head. That's how I see it. And then, and we all have our own soul family. I have my soul constellation of stars above my head, my soul family. And you have your constellation of stars above your head, your soul family. And we can actually, our soul families can intermingle. And it's just kind of like two solar systems colliding. And that's the visual that I get. And then on a more personal level, we have our guides, or our guardians. And most people have two. Sometimes if you're in the service or of service, if there's something like, literally, if you're a Marine or in the Army or something like that, or a doctor or a nurse, but somebody on the front line, somebody that's helping a lot of people, they'll have three guides. And the other thing is guides come and go. We may have a guide that comes in. We'll have one or two that's basically with us our whole life. And then we'll have others that kind of come in and out as we grow, as we evolve, and as we move forward. And so that's the way I see it. And really, our guides will be whatever it is we're comfortable with. Like, I grew up Catholic, so I see angels, I talk to God. But not everybody believes in God. So, it can be, a deceased relative. It will come in as an angel. It might come in as an alien. Some people are more comfortable talking to the galactic star nation, whatever it is that we can in our consciousness, it's whatever it is that makes sense to us. And because we as humans need to put a name and a face to an entity, to an energy, and that's the way I see it. And actually, one other thing, the other thing is I differentiate between a soul in dealing with an entity on a soul level as a guide, and a thought form. A soul, a guide who is a soul when you're connecting with somebody on a soul level, they'll never tell you what to do. They will never scare you. They will never harm you. They will never try to trick you. On the other hand, a thought form feeds on your fear. The thought form feeds on your insecurities. The thought form is always making you question. It's more like the ego, the mind and the emotions, the ego, create this thought form. So the thought form, you can get rid of the thought form, but you need to realize how many years it took you to create a thought form, so that way you need to know that it's just not going to go away all by itself, just like the ego. We don't kill the ego, but we need to understand, we need to get the ego to understand that it is just a team player. It's part of the team, in that that's how we integrate it with the rest of ourself, the spirit, the soul self, and the way I say it is we have the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body, and the universal body. There's all these different, the spiritual body, and we have all these different aspects of us. And, the ego is made out of, the mental body and the emotional body. So we need to bring that ego in, because it's an important part of who we are. I know that I've talked about a lot, but this is the basis of what I do, and this is why I'm doing it. I'm doing this to educate you on the things that I've learned, and hopefully you don't have to go through the same struggles that I have gone through, in my, throughout my awakening. Everybody thinks this awakening thing is like just for masters, or, you've got to study for 1 million years and do all this, and you've got to live 1 million lifetimes. It's not. It's awakening is simply this. It's awakening to your truth. And if it's not the truth, if it's a truth that you're not happy with, then you still have to understand that truth before you can change it. It has control of you if it stays hidden, if it stays in the subconscious. But as soon as you can bring that truth into your consciousness, that's the first step. And that's when you can start to take control of your universe. So if you want a reading with me, or if you want to learn more about me, you can go to my website, gwenhoughton.com, and you can read my book. It's called Living Your Successful Life. I hope this helps making a decision on whether you want to get a reading from me or not. And if you do, I'd be very happy to talk to you. I do readings over the phone, and for people that are close to me in New Hampshire, I do readings in person as well. So without further ado, let's get to the reading. As always, the first thing I'm going to do is a short visualization. But this time, I decided to have a beautiful amethyst crystal for you to gaze at before you close your eyes, and to set your intentions on, and to help cleanse and clear. I love amethyst, and it's such a healing stone. And so I feel like if we're going to be doing this healing work together, that we might as well bring in the crystals that are going to help us out. And today, after the past few weeks that we've been going through, it's time for a little bit of kindness, a little bit of gentleness as we go through our meditation and our visualization. The other thing I do before I do a card reading and before I do the visualization is I call in my guides. And so it's simply this. I call in any guides, gods, goddesses, angels, archangels, ascended masters, beings of light, whatever's for my highest good and highest healing. Hail and welcome. And if there are any unwanted energies around me, I wish them to leave now. My intention for this reading is to pick up on the energy that's happening starting today, October 12th, 2015, and going forward for the next 2 weeks. Let it be for our highest good and highest healing. Now just close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and start to picture a beautiful ball of white light above your head. And this white light is filled with love and calming energy. And start bringing this beautiful ball of white light down into your head and gently rock your head back and forth. It helps to release any tension. Bring your ear to your shoulder very gently. Other ear to the other shoulder. As far as you can go. Don't strain, just gently. You may hear some cracking and popping. It's the sinuses back there. I often hear them. Helps the pineal gland and the pituitary gland when we clear this area behind our neck. And continue bringing this beautiful white light down into your neck and shoulders. And drop your shoulders gently. Feel them relax. And continue bringing this beautiful white light down into your chest. And as you do, breathe it into your chest. And exhale out any unwanted energies. They're not good or bad, we just don't need them right now. And this breath also brings you into the present moment. And start to feel your body. Feel what's happening. If you get a visual, see if there's anything in and around the heart chakra. And continue bringing this beautiful white light down into your waist, down into your hips. And this beautiful white light continues down into your knees, down into your ankles, down into your toes, all the way down into the ground. And Earth Mother takes any unwanted energies and she transmutes them into love and light. Now bring beautiful green healing energy up from the earth, up into your toes, up into your ankles, and this beautiful green healing energy continues up into your knees. And visualize this beautiful green energy if you can. If you can't, that's okay. We all are different. And continue bringing this beautiful green energy up into your hips, up into your waist. Paying particular energy, particular attention to the energy in your belly. This is where the solar plexus is. This is where fear resides, that tightening of the stomach, fear of not being good enough, fear of failure. Let that fear go right now. There's no reason to fear the universe. There's no reason to fear yourself. There's no reason to fear the energy, the beautiful healing energy that's coming in. Fill your body with beautiful healing energy. You are good enough. You are deserving. You deserve to have everything that the universe has in store for you. know that this is true. Know that we are here as humans, and we are here to make mistakes. It is okay. We learn from those mistakes, and that's how we grow. Bring the gentleness of the Libra, new moon, the balance. Bring this into your heart. Breathe it in. Exhale out. And these beautiful green healing energies continue through your arms, through your shoulders and your neck, all the way up into your head. This beautiful green healing energy goes all the way up into the heavens, and this connects us with all of the universe, all of heaven and earth. And just open your eyes and wiggle your toes and fingers. Focus your energy on this beautiful amethyst. And have gratitude for the peace that you are feeling right now. And know that you can have this peace whenever you want. Now with this beautiful energy set and this beautiful intention set, let us start with the reading. So, let's see what we have going on with the first deck of cards. And it is the 9 of Winged Ones, the Loon, Answers and Hope in Dreams. And it's also, the 9 of Winged Ones is the 9 of Swords in its air card. And the air is about the mind. And a lot of times we have information come to us in dreams because we get too busy. The mind is too busy during the day. It's too busy to process the information. It's too busy to get messages from spirit. So a lot of times the messages come to us in our dreams and in those moments just before we go to sleep, just before we wake up. So let's pay attention to that, because this is about balancing out the conscious and the subconscious and starting to understand what's going on within you, what's going on behind the scenes, because there's a lot that we do, a lot that we say, ways that we behave based on subconscious tendencies and what's going on in our subconscious. So very fitting card for this week, this bi-weekly reading. Now the 12th deck. Next 5 cards. The 8 of Wands, swiftness. That represents representative of the past or present situation. Then we have the Prince of Swords. The next 3 cards, insight, wisdom, and knowledge. Insight, wisdom, knowledge, and outcome. The Prince of Swords is representative of insight. The Death card is representative of wisdom, and the 3 of Discs, or the Works, representative of knowledge, and the outcome is the Moon. numerologically is 18-9. What's interesting right off the bat is the Eight of Wands, swiftness. The energy around that card, the number 8, there's something that's very powerful about it, because the Wands is about our passion. It's about what we're being guided to do on a soul level. You know, we have, whether it's got to do with relationships, or if it's got to do with a job, or if it's got to do with just our life passion. And I feel like we can have everything that we want, everything that we desire. We just need to understand the process and how to go through that process without fear. And it was an interesting meditation that I just did, because there was a lot of healing that was going on within that meditation. So if you didn't listen to it, you might want to listen to it. And a lot of encouragement of going within and going within the heart and healing the heart. That way, when we're manifesting, we are manifesting those things that we truly desire. And I've talked about this. Knowing your truth is part of that process. It's just finding out the truth about yourself and about others isn't always fun, but once you do find out, then you know what you're dealing with. You can you've got a clean slate. You can say, okay, now I know what I'm dealing with. Now I know what to do. Okay, or now I need to make a plan, decide what I'm going to do. Then there's the Prince of Swords, and he has decisions to make. There are decisions to make, and what happens when there are decisions to make is that the mind can become clouded, and the decisions that we make oftentimes are based in fear. So it's about cutting away through the false pretenses and the false reasoning that the ego gives us. And it's more about understanding, there's the insight, wisdom, understanding that the old ways, this is the death of the old ways. This is literally, that's the number 13, which reduces to the 4. And so we need to get rid of the dead wood in our life. We need to get rid of the things that no longer serve us, because when you reduce that 13 to the 4, that's creating a solid foundation for us. And understanding that what holds us back oftentimes is a lot of the past things that we've done. We sit in there, we wallow in it, and we never know how to get past it. So it's about making a choice, understanding that choice that we make, not based on fear, but based on hope, will set us free. It will set us free to move forward into the future. And the 3 of discs is about, it's the going into the works. And the other thing about the 3 of discs is it's creating a solid foundation in a different way, because it's the consciousness, the subconsciousness, bridging the gap between the two to create the energy that is within the super consciousness. We bridge the gap, and like I've said before in the introduction, I see it when we have the conscious and the subconscious, when we bridge the gap between the two, it's like two neurons reigniting, and they ignite that super consciousness. They're igniting the spark, the acacia, that God power, that spirit that's within us, so that we can see, so that we can understand, so that we can get the guidance that we need from the interior self. And that is going to be what helps us to move forward and have all that we want, need, desire. The moon card 18:9 is about reflection. It's about understanding. It's about going within. It's about taking the time to meditate, to explore the inner world, the darkness. We're going down into the darkness, down into the depths of our soul, to understand what it is that keeps us from living the life that we want to live. What is it that stops us? Why do we keep doing the same things over and over again? Why do we keep meeting the same people over and over again? They have different faces, but they're all the same people, and we know those people well, and we would like to make some new friends. And that's what the universe does. They bring us these people so that we can learn our lessons. But if we're not understanding that, we're like, why do I keep ending up in abusive relationships? Why do I keep ending up in jobs that I hate? Why do I keep up that blah, blah, blah? It goes on and on and on. Well, it's because you're putting yourself in that position over and over and over again by doing the same thing. And it's time to break out. It's time to break free. It's time to understand that you are the keeper of your flame. You are the captain, and you are steering your own ship. If you think somebody else is controlling your life, then you don't feel like you have any control. So why are you going to do something about it? But if you know that you're the only one that's in control of your life, it's gonna change. You're gonna sit there and say, okay, well, if I keep doing this to myself over and over again, then I guess I need to do something different, because this ain't working. And so I talk about this, and I talk about the frustration, because there's so many of us that are dealing with the same frustration. It's in different ways. It's about doing different things, but it's the same vibrational outcome. And that death card is front and center, and it's about finally understanding that, finally cutting through the unwanted things in our lives, and breaking free. Like the other thing that I see in that is the spider web. It's maybe another deck of cards that I have, but I see the spider web in there, and you can become entangled in the web, or you can be like the spider, and you have the technology, you have the knowing of how to maneuver around the web. You are then become the creator of the web. It's the web of life, and it's the web that you want to weave, that's going to bring you the sustenance, going to bring you the food, and the things that you need in your life. Weaving the web of fate, and getting out of that cesspool of woulda, coulda, shoulda, mighta, but I didn't because of this person, or I couldn't because of that person. Just it's time to put that mentality aside, and it's really time to take your power back. And the Loon is, I see the moon as spirit. I see the moon, the Loon on, interesting, I said moon and Loon, but we've got this new moon in the darkness. You don't see the moon. It's not there during the new moon. And behind the depths of the energy within this new moon, we can bring about the change that we are looking for. We can bring about the change that we want. Listen to your dreams. Listen to spirit. Listen to what spirit is saying to you. Take the time to be quiet, and take the time to listen to your body as well. This is a very, very good time for body care. The changing of the seasons is always a good time to do a cleanse. It's a good time to start looking at your eating habits, because we do change what we're eating from summer to fall. And start, it's warm, it's cool enough where we can make some really nice hearty soups and stews that have all kinds of really nice vegetables. Go outside, pick some apples, get some fresh air, take a walk. The air is beautiful in New England and a lot of parts of the country right now. It's nice and crisp and clean. Breathe in that air and exhale out all the doubt. Exhale out all the pain of the past. Breathe in new healing energy. Breathe in strength. And work with spirit. That's really what this reading is all about. It's about connecting with spirit. It's about working with spirit. And it's a perfect time to do this too. It's, the equilibrium. We're so externalized. Everything is externally focused, whether it's TV or the internet or being plugged in. You're plugged into something constantly. It's time to unplug, and the balance is instead of doing things externally, doing things internally for yourself. And actually, this is the longer, the Sagittarius in Saturn. This is about learning, finding your spiritual self, whatever that spiritual self is. Understanding how spirit plays a role in your particular universe for your particular reasons. We all have different gods and goddesses and entities that help us along the way, whatever they are. It's time to call on them and ask them for help, because remember, they can't help us unless we call on them and we ask them for help. When we call on them, we activate them. And when we ask for help, we can actually get an answer. They try very, very hard to work with us, and they try very, very hard to get us to ask for help. But sometimes we're so stubborn that we won't ask for help until we're hanging out on a limb and we don't have anywhere to go and we've hit bottom, and then we finally ask for help, and boom, all of a sudden help comes. Well, let's not wait until we're hitting bottom. Let's do this now. Let's work with spirit. So that's what this reading is all about. It's a really good time also to be having these conversations with loved ones, having conversations with your boss, writing down your wants, needs, desires. Are there certain things that you've been wanting to do for a hobby, or changing your lifestyle? These are really, really good times to be going through the thought processes in going through the conversations that we need to have. Like I said before, I really don't think it's a good time to take action unless it's something that you've been thinking about for a very long time. But understand that there are still some hidden aspects to this, and understand that there are ramifications for the actions that you take. So don't be hasty. Don't do it with anger. Do it with ease and grace, and be thoughtful. Be very thoughtful about yourself. Be very thoughtful about other people, what you're going to say to them, how you're going to approach them. Right now, it's not about wielding the sword. It's about wielding the pen. Get the pen out, get the paper out, get your, I like doing it on my computer. I'm always on that, unfortunately. But, get your journal going. It's a really good time to start a new journal. Brand new journal. It's a brand new time, brand new energy about balance. So, with all those things, all that information, all that guidance, take a deep breath. Take a look at the cards one more time. And I leave you with this. Spirit is here. Spirit is loving. Spirit is kind. Spirit is joyful. It is your journey, dear friends, to live joyfully in this world that you are in. Remember that you can only feel this joy when you are in human form. In spirit, we are only the instrument. We are the piano. We are the written word. We are the note. But you, dear human, can read the note. You can play the piano. You can make the music. Know this. Know this truth. Be this truth. Be the love that you are. Go if you will. Stay if you must. Hail and farewell. And bright blessings for the next 2 weeks. Okay, that was pretty interesting. So that was a little bit of a channeling session. And Archangel Michael came through, and he's been with me all day, quite frankly. So this is I feel very hopeful, and I feel very optimistic about this time coming up. So bright blessings to you all.